So, okay, thank you for joining this SAMM community call already for September 11th. I have a couple of updates on the project. First and for all, we have our upcoming SAMM User Day in a couple of weeks already as part of Global AppSec in San Francisco. So those are the big OWASP conferences that are organized in Europe, which we did in Lisbon end of June, and now it's in San Francisco in obviously the USA. We have a full agenda published, actually. We have a very interesting program. Some of the speakers that are listed here are actually also in this call, but we have, so we're very excited to have Justin Lear, who is a real specialist on security champions, who is going to explain how that helps boost OWASP SAMM. We have Jamil looking at the capability maturity model for SSDLCs. Dag, who's in this call, who also did this call in Lisbon, but it's a really interesting call on using SAMM as a communication tool. We'll definitely do some updates on the benchmark project. Hopefully we'll have Brian Chess in person, if not remote. We have Nariman, who's in the call here, who's going to explain a little bit about rolling out SAMM and also doing a workshop. Sunny from Zebra is going to also do a testimonial on using SAMM in his organization. A couple of roundtables, specifically looking at assessments. And then at the end of the day, we'll also, like we did in Lisbon, also organizing a dinner nearby so that we can have some more time to chat on SAMM. As always, this is your chance to interact with other SAMM users, share experiences, meet up also with the core team, and obviously also hopefully afterwards enjoy the SAMM OWASP conference. If you haven't had a chance, please make sure to register. So if you're planning to come to the conference, which is on Thursday and Friday, the SAMM User Day is just the day before, and you have to register separately. It's listed under the trainings, but it's definitely not at a full training price. It's I think it's $50 plus some registration fees. This is to cover the catering, which is provided by OWASP. With that, a couple of other topics of questions that come back. In Lisbon, we shared some initial findings of the OWASP benchmark. And we are now collecting more data sets. So there is actually a benchmark tab in the Excel toolbox and also in the SAMMI tool, which allows it for you to very easily upload or share your SAMM assessments. Once we have more assessments and more data sets in there, you can also release a more detailed report of the outcome. And we're aiming for 100 data sets. We are around 40 now, so but it's steadily increasing. So once we have more, we can also share more data with you. We'll probably share an updated set of numbers in a couple of weeks as part of the list, the San Francisco conference. With that, also the SAMM Toolbox, which is actually a spreadsheet, is updated. We had some fixes done. Actually, especially if you were using the toolbox in another language or another regional setting than English, you might have experienced some problems. That has been fixed. It should work. There was some calculation bugs in there as well. And it also contains a benchmark tab. And let me share you how that looks like. So this is the updated toolbox, which you see here, which typically has the interview, and then the scorecard, the roadmap, but it also now has a benchmark tab. Now, the benchmark tab is just to fill in some basic, I would say, metadata about what your organization does, and it will also collect the basics out of your interview. Once you do this, once you have this, you can then actually share it as part of the benchmark submission. There's a README here, which you can have a look at, and then which explains how that works, and then upload it there, and then it will automatically be integrated in in the new benchmark. Obviously, there will be some vetting involved by Brian, but that's how that works. So that's the toolbox. We also have a new feature or a new, I would say, aspect, and that is we have created, or actually some people of Codific have created an assessment format.
Okay, so this is the repository where I have created a few documents with the explanation of what the format is, but basically it's a proposal for a file format used to store SAMM assessments, which is an alternative to storing them in the Toolbox format, which yes, I know a lot of people use the Toolbox for assessments, but for storage and for consuming those files, it's not very convenient. And also it's not open source, as I mentioned right here right at the beginning of the page here. Yes, there is LibreOffice, which should technically be able to open Excel's files, but actually the Toolbox doesn't work in LibreOffice. I'm not sure why that is, but anyway, it is better to have a format that works for storage. And yes, my goals when creating it were to have it be both human and machine readable. And here is a detailed document of my rationale, why I decided to structure the format the way it is. And currently this is a proposal. If anyone has any feedback or ideas for improvements, of course, I would be open to that. And the idea is to have this maintained in the long term by OWASP, by your SAMM project. But what we found as a difficulty is when you have to do data analysis on a lot of files. And I had people ask me, so what is a good way to do that? Because extracting data from the Toolbox every time you want to do data analysis becomes cumbersome. So the file format will allow for that to be done much easier. And as I said, it is both human and machine readable. The JSON schema is used to validate it, but also it can be used to actually work with the file. A lot of different programming languages have support for JSON schema, so you can easily import a file structured in this format. And it is also built in a way that allows it to be easily extensible. So if you want to add an extension for the benchmark project, you can do that easily. And I have outlined a simple extension that supports, as you can see here on the right, it supports the benchmark, and there's the benchmark extension has its own specification. And basically you can use that to then send to the benchmark project. If this gets adopted, the benchmark project just needs to update the API to be able to ingest those files. And in the future, if someone needs another extension, if we need to do more data analysis, we can add that as well.
Great, thank you very much, Dimitar. I think it's a really good extension, or I would say a more platform neutral, I would say, format of sharing assessment and some data, obviously beside the spreadsheet. So that's definitely welcome, and let's indeed hope that that some other community members have a look at it, start using it. And I would assume that probably you can export data out of the SAMM tool in this format, or is that on the roadmap?
Right now,
that's on a roadmap, but there's also an export from the Excel toolbox as it is right now to this format, if I'm not mistaken.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, as a supplement to this proposal, I have actually written an exporter that basically takes the toolbox and it gives you back the .sam format.
All right, great. Yeah, oh, that's very valuable then. So then we can more easily exchange these SAMM files. All right, great. Thank you. So that's that. And then something else which we've also been working on. Actually, people from Codific actually have been very active in helping us with that. Is that something that was already a long time on our wish list? That is what we call friendly website URLs. So until now, what we have with OWASP SAMM is that if we go to the model, is that in the model, when you go to details here, is that in each of these tabs you can see the different activity levels of a stream, but the URL does not change. So it's very hard to share direct links on an activity and a stream level for within SAMM. And that has now been fixed. So there is what we call directly URLs. And so this one, for instance, threat assessment directly goes into that threat assessment. And then you can go one deeper in level A here. And then if you go one level deeper here, then it jumps directly into that level 1 here. So, and that makes it possible and easy for us to switch to different levels and deep link to the different activities, which is easier for other tools, but also for mappings to deep link directly into the model. So that's a feature that was added and is active since, I think since July, if I'm not mistaken, which is very welcome. So that's that. Another thing that has been done is actually we've been, and actually Bart and others have been very active at working on translations, translating SAMM to other languages. Now there's a whole, I would say, infrastructure build-up to actually support that and make that work. And in Crowdin, Crowdin is a platform that allows us to export actually from the main repository that we have, the SAMM repository, and push those YAML files to Crowdin, where these are translated by different volunteers. And then they're integrated again into different specific language repositories on our GitHub, in GitHub repositories. And from there, also auto-generated towards the website. And we have I would say, a premiere of a first translation. Actually, the model has been translated in French. You're looking here at OWASP.org FR for French model. And here you see the same model in French. So where you have like the requirements, security requirements, which is in French, exigence de sécurité. And you have the full model, but now in French. And so obviously we'll be going to support and translate to other languages. But for some parts in the world, this is very valuable to have because there's parts in the world that don't standard speak English, but can use and are using SAMM and have been asking to actually help us translate that. But also now we're making it possible to share those results as part of the website. So I'm very happy that that now has come to fruition and actually sharing that online, which was not an easy thing to do. So that's a big thank you there for all the people who have helped and worked on this. So that's the updates on the project, everything that we've been doing. Obviously, we'll also be sharing that as part of the SAMM User Day. We'll also have a presentation planned at San Francisco. So hopefully we'll see each other there.